the best tools online. Chris is the author of Digital Marketing for Results, How to Focus on What Matters. And his book has been named one of the best digital marketing books of all time by Book Authority. Chris has worked with teams at global brands. He's worked with Mercedes-Benz, Canon, lots of other companies. He is listed as one of the top 50 Black professionals and entrepreneurs of Texas by DMARS. And his business was awarded the Comcast Rise Grant in 2021. Chris is all that, and he knows all that about marketing, which he's going to share. So welcome, Chris. I'm going to let you take it away and help us with our digital marketing.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction. So I look forward to sharing some useful tips. And yeah, thanks for bringing me on. So throughout this presentation, you're going to think about different types of ideas to promote your brand and to grow your business. And so by the end of this presentation, you're going to learn tips that you can implement literally within the next couple of hours after this. So whenever I present, I like to give people tips that they can make happen really quickly. This way that they feel like they are taking action and they're growing their business immediately. So I want to go over 4 different areas when it comes to growing your business as a photographer. One is being consistent, because I feel that's important in any type of business that you do. And 2 is social, which is social media platforms. I mean, majority of us are on social media, but just figuring out how to really utilize it to our full advantage. Instead of just looking at it and posting every now and then, we're going to learn tips on exactly what to do to get you the growth that you need. And also search. So we're going to talk about search engine optimization, like coming up higher on the rankings and getting good reviews. And also not only that, but we're going to look into your actual website. So that's right, your web page is important, because many of us have web pages, but we got to realize that there's only so much time we have in order to get their attention when they come to our web page. So first off, let's think about being consistent. So back then, when I first started my business, I would probably post once a month. And this was, I would say, it worked a little bit. I let people know about my brand and my new business that I was starting, and I was excited about it. And I said, hey, you know what? I'm posting on social media once a month. It's great. You know, people know about my business. And every now and then, when I'll meet somebody in person, I'll say, hey, I see that you started this business. It was great. But one year I decided, you know, how about I start posting a little bit more? How about I start being more consistent online? And that's when my business changed, because one thing about being more consistent in promoting your photographer business is people will know more about what you do, and they'll take you more seriously, and they'll see that, hey, this person, they're doing this on an ongoing basis, and they know exactly what they're doing, and they have all this experience. So when I started posting consistently, telling people about my business more often during the week, that's when things grew. So think about what you're doing right now. So I always tell people and audiences that you may be doing the right tactics, but you just need to do more of that tactic. So let's say, for instance, you're posting once a month on Instagram or Facebook or whatever platform you use. How about increasing that to 3 to 4 times a week? And so this way you're more consistent in the eyes of your audience, and they understand that they can connect with you, and they understand that what you're doing. And because the challenge is, you might have heard this, but many people, they don't decide to buy until they've heard about a brand over 7 times. So that's a challenge, right? So it could be advertisements, or it could be any other types of business, but most people, they want to see and they want to make sure that they understand and connect first. So the key reason for that is trust. They want to be able to trust that you know what you're doing. They want to be able to trust that they know exactly what you offer, versus them just giving their money to anybody that they see post one time. So that's one of the major reasons why consistency is so important. And another reason why consistency is important is because it gives you the experience. It lets you know how and what to post, and how to be effective, and what works. Because let's say, for instance, you post once a month. Guess what? You never really know what your audience really wants to see. But the more you're posting, the more consistent you are, the more you're sending out maybe email newsletters, you're always getting better at what you're doing. You're always getting better at marketing your business. So that's one of the things I realized once I started being more consistent is that, hey, now I know exactly what type of photos people like. I know exactly what type of content people like in order to make an engaging post and in order to get customers. So that's actually doing yourself a favor is posting more because you're going to get more information about what the audience likes. And then in turn, you're going to grow your business. So second, let's think about social media. So we're all on social media. You can put in the chat like what type of platforms you currently use. So what type of platforms you currently use in the chat right there. So is it Facebook more? Is it Instagram more? Is it LinkedIn? Is it Twitter? So as photographers, you're probably on Instagram a lot, right? So when it comes to social, there's so many different types of opportunities. And I like to recommend that use 3 to 4 platforms that you really feel that your audience is using. So the audience is there. So Dave said IG. Okay, great. Somebody said Facebook most. Great. So somebody said Facebook and Google and Insta. Perfect. So you want to figure out what is the platform that your audience is using. And from there, you can figure out exactly what type of content to post. So first you got to understand is we talk about consistency. Now think about the type of content you're posting. So let's say, for instance, you heard me say earlier that, hey, you need to post like 3 or 4 times a week more often. You might be thinking to yourself like, hey, what exactly do I post? So I always tell people, think about education, entertainment, and promotion. That means that sometimes you're educating the audience because people like to be educated. Other times you are promoting, and other times maybe you're entertaining, such as sharing viral content that's on the web. And so when it comes to education, think about this way. If you did a post about how to choose the right photographer or how to choose the wedding pose or how to pose correctly at your wedding photography, at your wedding shoot, these are all items that people really need to know. Maybe it's your current customers, your past customers, or your potential customers. If you're consistently giving out some of these tips, let's say, for instance, a year later when maybe somebody gets married or there's a graduation or they just want to have a photo shoot in general, guess who they're going to think about? They're probably going to think about you because you've been providing solutions and value to them for the past years. And a side note about that, sometimes when I first started, I would think, hey, they say post on social media, I'd post and then I wouldn't get business. But I realized that this is a consistent long game that you're looking at. You want to think about building this audience and building this trust. And these people, 6 months, a year later, these are people when they think about photographer, guess who? They're going to think about you because you've been providing this content. So don't automatically think that, hey, I didn't post and nothing happened. Because people are watching. People are consistently watching what you do and what you're promoting. So that's one thing to think about. And when it comes to the content, so you have the promotional content, that's when you're promoting services such as, hey, I want to promote my business. Here's what I offer. I offer these type of shoots. I offer videography, offer this, offer that. That's when you're promoting. And then of course you have the entertaining. So have that as a good mix and you'll be surprised at how much content you have. Because I work with many different types of businesses and photographers are in the category of the business that has a whole bunch of content. All right. So some businesses, they feel like they don't know what to post and they don't have the content, but photographers, they have huge amounts of pictures, all this type of video. You want to consider that type of content. And you may have also noticed that some of the content that goes viral is emotional content. So for example, whenever I post a picture of myself on, let's say for Facebook, I might get maybe 20, 30 likes. When I post a picture of my wife and I, it gets hundreds of likes for some reasons. I don't know what it is. But I started realizing maybe that's because it's emotional content. So photographer business, you're in a perfect situation because you have emotional content. So if you've seen a reel on Instagram, maybe the groom is crying or the bride looks really happy, most of the time that's because it's emotional content. So you want to think about the shoot that you just did. What emotional pictures can you use and post those? Even if it's a video, post those as a reel. So think about the emotional content. And also think about how can you reach more people and get more shares. So that's the idea too, getting more shares and getting more people to see the content. So whenever you're doing the shoots, you can ask people to share the behind the scenes, or you can share the behind the scenes. I was talking to my photographer a couple of days ago, and he was saying that behind the scenes pays off. So you're posting behind the scenes of how the shoot's going, and guess what? This is accomplishing two tasks. This is one, showing the quality, what you're doing, and also letting people know that you're busy and you're working photographer, right? So behind the scenes, you can even share, so you can get permission from the people that you're taking a photo of and have them share or you share. But in general, it's going to be really beneficial. And then when it comes to photography, hashtags are super important. So super important when it comes to people finding it. So I always tell people whenever I go to a different city to present, I go to Instagram, I do a search, I use hashtag Memphis Barber or hashtag Atlanta Photographer. And so you want to think about not only just using general, but different hashtags that reach your audience. So if you're in Atlanta, or even if you're in a different country, you got to think about what are all the different types of hashtags that people will use if they were in Atlanta looking for a photographer, right? So it could be hashtag Atlanta photographer, hashtag Atlanta photographers with an S, hashtag photographers and videographers, or videographers in Atlanta. So you want to not just think about the basic standard hashtag, which is hashtag photography or hashtag Atlanta photographer. Go in and think about all these different types of ways people are searching, because that's personally how I found some of the past photographers.